speaks out. D. Mace Finn, Ginendonic 1025, 1063 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, David Janes, and the other guy, Adam Bengen.
I like that. And I watched the other guy last night. So funny.
So we all did okay yesterday.
Yeah. We all had a wonderful time.
I'm glad that the show is still DVD and not DDT, D. Mace Donick and the other guy.
Wait, DDT? I mean,
that sounds good too, don't it?
It sort of does, but isn't that what? That's something else.
That's a wrestling move.
DDT is a professional wrestling maneuver.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's also
wasn't it the name of a group?
It's an insecticide.
That's what
well.
That's what I was
wow.
thinking. I was a history major. I should have known that. Something clicked in my head there from
Like DDT.
Yeah.
You didn't learn about that in Rocks for Jocks.
No,
that's right.
You ain't learned about that.
200 level course. I think, yeah.
Slightly above that.
Yeah.
But Derek, you came in here and you said that
Yes.
you had something you want to share with us. So
Yes,
go right
I did.
ahead,
and,
sir.
And it may be, I'm warning you, it may be a little bit intrusive, so to speak. It's personal to me, but and the only reason that I'm telling you, because men, we gotta monitor our health. And sometimes we just don't. Sometimes we go through the days and so we're so busy and we're so worried about everything and everybody else that a lot of times it's like, we'll be fine. I'll be okay. And we never really check up on ourselves. So late last night, 2 o'clock in the morning, got to use the bathroom. Long story short, I don't like what I saw. So as a person, you're panicking and you're Googling, and it's like, man, should I call my doctor now? Should I wait? Should I do this and that? So, talking with McCall, she just calmed down and we kind of went over some things. And this was late at night, so I didn't want to wake up my kids or anything. So I end up texting my doctor early this morning. Didn't get much sleep. Ended up texting my doctor early this morning. And he was like, come on in. So I ended up going in. And he and I talked, and he did the exam, which he was like, I know you didn't come in here for this early in the morning. So assume the position that you need to assume for me to examine you. So he did that. And he said, no, he looked at my chart. He said, you had a colonoscopy not this past January, but last, when I turned 50. And he said, he said, it looked great. There was nothing. He said, basically, you're dealing with, as you get older, you're dealing with hemorrhoids. And I was like, seriously? All those times I made fun of people that had hemorrhoids. Now that's what I'm dealing with. How ironic that is. So, but I'm saying that to say this, like, if you do what you need to do on the front end, when you have situations like that, your physician can go in right away, look at your chart and say, okay, we can dismiss this, or we can dismiss, or it could be this. He was able to look at it quickly, evaluate me, and he determined that this is what it is. And so the scare was like, I was like, whew, man. So again, it's all about taking care of yourself and being proactive.
If anybody has one of those donut pillows around the house, you can deliver it to Derek Mason at Cromwell Media, 1824 Murfreesboro Pike in Nashville.
Oh, man. I heard that joke this morning already, too.
The donut pillow.
The donut pillow. Oh, man.
One of the famous sport stories, there's only one that I know of, but it was a big thing at the time. I don't know, Adam, this is before your time, but if you're a baseball fan, you would remember this. George Brett was by far, I don't know about by far, he was probably the best player in the game in 1980, and the Royals, his team, made it to the World Series. He had to miss a game in the World Series because he had hemorrhoids. It's a huge story. And people were like, this is the World Series. Like he almost hit 400.
Mhm.
He hit 400 for most of the season. So he was the guy that made them go. But he made light of it. Like you couldn't help but giggling and laughing. And he went with it perfectly. He had some really funny lines.
Oh man.
And so he toughed it out.
Yeah.
But he did have to miss some, and the announcers like during the game were like George Brett's out of the game. He has hemorrhoids.
See, all
We
those
know what
times
it
I
is.
made
We don't
fun of people with
decide too much.
hemorrhoids.
Not an
That's
easy
just-
subject to talk about.
That's just what I get. Made fun of those people having hemorrhoids.
I do want to start today's show by telling all of you that I have a bone to pick with Jared Stillman.
Dun,
This
dun,
is
dun,
not
dun.
the first time.
No, it's
No.
not. But this is not about the backwards hat thing from a few days ago. That was a doozy. But I was listening to the end of Jared's program yesterday. I was in the car. And Jared, near the end of his program, he was defending the WNBA and how he believes that critics of the WNBA, who probably don't watch the product, they can't say it's a bad product because the data is there. It sells tickets, it's getting ratings, they have a big TV deal, all of those things. And then Jared, as an example, he said, I don't watch NASCAR, but NASCAR gets ratings. It's a real business. He says, I don't watch wrestling. Frankly, I think it's fake and it's for booger eaters, but it's a real business. Jared, this is all I have to say. I love wrestling and I haven't eaten my boogers in years.
You tell them.
Yeah, I haven't eaten my
You
boogers
go,
in years.
buddy.
And professional wrestling was in the spotlight yesterday because of the death of Hulk Hogan, who left behind a complicated legacy, to say the least. But I just want to say, Jared, I love wrestling, and I stopped eating my boogers years ago. So you can watch wrestling and not eat your boogers. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so we got
Hemorrhoids and boogers. Willie, you're up.
What a combo.
I got nothing.
Oh man.
It is kind of weird to talk about professional wrestling like on the sport because so many people love it, but it's like not a sports talk show thing other than the references,
Yeah.
the memes. Like I have to laugh. I've never been into it at all, but if somebody in the right text chain or right moment hits me with a wrestling meme, I always laugh. It's they capture that.
Hulk Hogan transcended professional wrestling, and I would venture to guess that anybody can do a Hulk Hogan impression, even if you didn't watch Hulk Hogan. He was that ubiquitous.
Mhm.
There's a big word for you today that I like to use.
Boom.
Ubiquitous, present, appearing, or found everywhere. Hulk Hogan was at one point ubiquitous, and everybody knows. Well, let me tell you something, brother. Take your vitamins, say your prayers, all that stuff.
Listen to your brother.
Right. All of that stuff. By the way, you have a new nickname from Jeff on our text line, Derek.
What's that?
Derek Preparation Mason.
He knows how to prepare.
Oh, that was a good one. Y'all got jokes, huh?
You do have a lot of support on our text line.
Y'all got jokes. Okay.
I guess Bob and Franklin, you want to talk about hemorrhoids too? The show's off the rails already.
Oh,
Bob, go
my
ahead.
goodness.
Yeah, hey Derek.
Yes.
If it'll make you feel any better, I'm assuming y'all all saw the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
You remember the scene where Indiana Jones is supposed to fight the guy with the big old sword and shoots him instead?
Yeah.
You know the shot was not in the original script. He was supposed to have a big fight scene. But Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, was dealing with a massive case of hemorrhoids and didn't want to do the whole shot. So he just shot the guy, and Lucas left it in. He goes, oh, that's even better. So if it makes you feel any better, Indiana Jones deals with them too.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, so what y'all telling me is I'm not going to be able to work, period, because who had hemorrhoids?
George Brett.
George Brett had hemorrhoids, and he missed a game.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford had hemorrhoids, and he couldn't work. So pretty soon here, I'm going to have to miss a day.
Well, you just have to replace your heating pad with a donut pillow.
Yeah.
That's all.
Ooh,
You can still
I
do
need
the
a
show. You just have to wear
A donut
You have
pillow.
to sit on one of those things.
Yeah.
So,
Add more to your comfy chair.
yes. By the way, I stole
Okay.
your chair last week when Willie and I were doing the show. I felt like a big man
I'm
sitting
getting,
in that
I'm
big
getting me
chair.
a new chair. This one's played out. I'll pass it over. I'm getting me a new one. I'm getting me a new black
I
chair
have to
like
say,
this.
when you miss the show and it's just
Uh-huh.
it's whoever gets there first is grabbing that chair.
Usually it's Adam.
It's usually
Yeah.
me. I'm here pretty early
Adam
preparing.
be like, yes.
Yes.
Got it.
But there was a tweet yesterday that just spoke to me on so many volumes from JJ Watt, because it is training camp season in the NFL and we crave training camp practice. We want to know everything about training camp practice. And as I said, JJ Watt, this tweet from him spoke to me. And I would love Derek's opinion on it as well, considering he actually went through NFL training camp. JJ Watt, quote, training camp stats in quotes, are insane and ridiculous. Used to think it was always just people joking, but now seeing them seriously reported. You have no idea what the purpose of that period is, what the goals are, what the context is, etc. It could be a strictly third and long blitz period where every play is skewed to the defense's advantage. Coaches could be asking the QB to focus specifically on one route concept. D-line may be focusing only on bull rushes one day or just speed rushes for one period. More importantly, practice is for practicing. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to try new things, see what works and what doesn't work, etc. If you only do what works, you'll never grow, adapt, and change. The entire point of training camp is to build and grow towards the season so that you perform your best when the real games start. And I was reminded of this morning when I logged on to ESPN.com, because that's one of the first things I do every weekday morning to prepare for the show. And one of the top headlines was Aaron Rodgers opens Steelers camp with interception. Aaron Rodgers has thrown how many interceptions in practice and in his career? The breathless reporting of training camp. And look, I know that we rely on a lot of it to prepare for this show, but when I saw that from JJ Watt yesterday, it spoke to me. It really did. I think and I don't mean to pick on, for example, Nick Suss of the Tennessean, who I met for the first time yesterday and whose work I really enjoy. And I worked for the Tennessean, so I understand what the people over there, the bosses, want. Nick Suss has a running blog of Cam Ward's training camp stats from every day. And in the blog from yesterday, he has a play-by-play breakdown of 7-on-7s. 1st and 10, Ward is intercepted by Barton over the middle. 2nd and 5, Ward completes a hitch to receiver Alec Iomanner. 1st and 10, Ward completes a crossing route to receiver Tyler Lockett, so on and so forth. And I don't mean to pick on Nick Suss, who, again, I met yesterday for the first time. I really enjoy his work, but that tweet from JJ Watt, it touched me in a certain way. I was like, thank you for saying it, because I have never, frankly, understood, to use the adjective again, the breathless reporting of every play that happens at a training camp in the NFL.
Yeah, it's all about analytics and numbers and everything else. And what you're trying to do is now, the landscape of reporting and how you present a team is totally different from what it used to be. Fans want to know about what Cam is doing in practice. They want to know if he goes 9 for 9. They don't care too much about the context of it, because even if you try to explain to them, it's going to be hard for them to understand it. So they don't care about the context. They just care about the completions. How many completions did he have in 7-on-7? Did he throw a touchdown? Did he throw an interception? The sport fan base is so driven by stats. It's pathetic. So whether it be in the regular season, in preseason, in the playoffs, or even now in practice, it's become a big part of reporting news, because it's not just here, it's at other places as well. But JJ is right. When he says, hey, listen, practice is about trying to find plays that are going to work in a game. You want to see if this play works. If it doesn't work, then we pull it out. Or if the quarterback doesn't feel comfortable with it, then we are not running it. So yes, practice is for you to go out there, try new things, figure out what is right, figure out your personnel and how to use your personnel. Some things are going to work, some things are not. What you want to see in all of this is, and I think this is where the numbers come into play, and fans can kind of like see it. They want to see improvement. They want to see if he started out, first day of camp, 7-on-7, and he only completed 3 balls. Then the next time they run a 7-on-7 the next day, the fan base want to see, has he improved? And if he hasn't improved, I know as a player, former player, that really don't mean a lot because he's still learning offense. But those that are outside of it are looking at it totally different. So because our sports community is so driven by stats, now it's bled into even practice, and it's getting airplay, it's getting clicks, and people are looking at it, so they're going to continue to report it.
But really, when you get down to it, it's only the quarterback
Yeah.
that we're keeping the stats for, and it is so right what that statement says. It says it perfectly. And at the same time, it is important that you do well at practice from the coach's standpoint. But if you're looking only because we don't even have yards, right? It's just 8 for 8, 9 for 9, 9 for 13, whatever it is. If I wanted to script practice, I could get myself a quarterback to go 9 for 9. If I simply took the snap and threw a little swing pass to Derek for 5 yards, I could go 9 for 9. And in the paper, in theory, that's what it would say. 9 for 9. And then you'd have to read Nick's blog saying, hey, these are like 2-foot passes. And then none of them gained any yards. In fact, 5 of them lost yards. But if you just said, Donick goes 9 for 9, you see what I'm getting at. That's what Watt is talking about there in that. But I do remember my first preseason practice for Vanderbilt basketball. Freshman coming in, you think you're really good, right? And it was a struggle for me. The first 3 weeks, I had been playing baseball in the fall, but I still thought, hey, I'm good enough. I'll just roll in here. I practice. Lights go on.
Donick is ready.
Lace them up. Here we go. And the first 3 weeks, I struggled. And I had a meeting with Coach Fogler, my coach, and he was talking about how, hey, you really haven't shot the ball real well. And I was thinking, well, it's practice. I was thinking, we're our drill. What we would do a lot is he would grade the shot. What is it? A good shot? Was it a contested shot? Was it a turnover? I had a few of those. But I was thinking in my mind, well, it's important. I get the shot off. It's a good quality shot within the offense. And so I was explaining this, and he was like, "But you're not making the shots enough." So that's the balance of it, right? I was executing what I thought was the right play. I'm making the right decisions. But at the same time, the coach is looking to see if the ball goes in, right? So I think it's a balance that yours. It's important to practice well, right? But at the same time, let's not go overboard with the stats, especially of the quarterback in completions and attempts, because that only scratches the surface of what we're talking about.
I think there are exceptions. For example, when the Titans practice against the Buccaneers and the Falcons.
Yeah, that's different.
And 2 teams are going at it, and Cam Ward is taking part in 11-on-11s. That's important to me. How he performs against actual other teams, actual defenders, all of those things. So I do think there are exceptions, but I saw that tweet from JJ Watt, and I said, "You got it, dude." By the way, Robert on the text line, because I said it touched me, he goes, "Point on the doll where it touched you, LOL."
People got jokes today.
Don't laugh, Derek. Mike on the text line says that you're going to be the butt of all jokes today. You're damn right. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, I heard Charles Robinson on with Joe and Paul Gaharski this morning. Joe asked a question to Charles Robinson about Brian Callahan, and I really like the answer. I thought he was throwing out a challenge to all the Callahaters out there. So we will play that for you and discuss it coming up next. 615-737-1025. Tune into ESPN 94.9 The Fan today as the Nashville Sounds take on Charlotte at First Horizon Park. Pregame begins at 6:20. First pitch is at 6:35. Coverage is also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan is presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. This week's Nashville's best deal is Eastside Bowl in Madison. Eastside Bowl is a vintage bowling alley, music venue, lounge, and arcade designed by locals for locals. Get 2 hours of bowl plus shoe rentals for up to 6 people for just $45 while supplies last. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to get yours now. Willie Donick, Derek Preparation Mason, and Adam Vingan here with you. So this morning, Joe and Paul had Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports on the program. Now that football season is back, you can hear Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports on Robbie and Rex Road every week. And Joe asked Charles Robinson about the perception of Brian Callahan around the NFL. And here is part of Charles Robinson's answer that I found to be interesting.
I guess my question here is, and I would ask you guys this, is he's been through 1 year, right? You tell me, is Will Levis, now you've seen Will Levis, now we know he wasn't healthy for a portion of the season, clearly. You're telling me that's a guy he should have gone out and what, had a Pro Bowl level season with Will Levis at quarterback, the offensive line. I mean, I guess I need to understand why fans are literally tacking every single thing onto Bill Callahan after one season, being exposed to him for one season. If it is a competency thing, fine, but you need to tell me. You need to tell me, give me the story, give me the anecdote that shows he has no idea what he's doing. Because I got that with Nathaniel Hackett after 1 year. Do you have that with Bill Callahan? Like, I have not heard
Brian, not Bill, but Bill's here too.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Brian Callahan. I have not heard that after 1 year about him.
So that was Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports this morning on Robbie and Rex Road. And I took that as a challenge to the Callahaters. I have previously anointed Big Joe Dubin the king of the Callahaters, but there are plenty of Callahaters around. And I like that question from Charles Robinson. Point to something that Brian Callahan did specifically last season that makes you think that he is not cut out to do this. The record is what it is. It wasn't good. But I do wonder if Brian Callahan is being, I know that this is going to be taken out of context and run all over the place. I'm wondering if some of the criticism of Brian Callahan has been unfair. And this is not me necessarily defending Brian Callahan, but I thought that Charles Robinson was laying down the gauntlet to all you Callahaters out there. Why are you so certain that he is not cut out to be an NFL head coach? And don't say because he wore his hat backwards while addressing the team.
I think one people will point to, but what people got to understand, Vrabel even went through this his first year, because you don't know what you don't know until you get in that situation and you have to make a decision. You try to, set yourself up for every possibility, but you just can't. So Vrabel went through these same things. I can remember people criticizing him for not taking the time out or not doing something, or challenging a call, or him challenging a call that was clearly a incomplete pass or something like that. So even Vrabel, had his missteps his first year. You're learning. Because they can tell you what they did, but until you get in that seat, you don't know how it truly is. And people will point to what Callahan did last year. Him calling the time, I think it was calling the timeout, not going for it, and then the fans booing on all of this,
right.
And then he come back and he go for it. It's like, well, why did you call a timeout? You wasted the timeout. That was inexperience. That's okay. You're learning on the fly. You just hope that in year two, like Vrabel, those mistakes are few and far between, because even the best coach makes mistakes during the game, whether it be calling a timeout. I can remember, a defensive coordinator, Rex Ryan. He calls a timeout right in the Ravens versus the New England game when New England was undefeated. We had a chance to beat them. He runs in there as we're stopping New England on 4th and inches. He calls a timeout. And he ain't even a head coach. But that was just a mistake that he made. You know, it happens even with the seasoned individuals. And Rex is a hell of a defensive coordinator, one of the best that has ever done it. But even he makes mistakes. So Charles is right in a sense of point to like things that he was consistently doing wrong, that so much so that you feel that he is not going to be a good coach in this league. We already know the roster was in the dumps, so he had that against him. The quarterback, he had that against him. So he had all these things against him. He come in and, hey, listen, you take the job, you got to make it right. But he didn't have and no head coach has a perfect slate, because obviously they fired the last head coach for a reason. But he came into a situation that he knew, so I'm not going to take that away from him. He knew what the situation was. He took the job. But, man, this was a bad team. This was a bad roster. And they're trying to build. And he made some mistakes as a rookie head coach. But those mistakes is, you just hope the next go around, which is this year, he doesn't make those same mistakes that he made last year.
I'm all for Brian Callahan having a bigger leash here. I think my gut tells me I think he'll be a good coach. And history is full of every sport, but especially in the NFL. Show me a team that really struggles, I'll show you a team that will just fire the coach. It's just such an easy knee-jerk move, even if you just know that they don't have the horses. But I will say this, if I'm trying to answer the question that Charles Robinson is putting out there, they did have way too many pre-snap penalties. They had way too many gaffes on special teams. Those are things, I did not look at that team and say, you know what, they're not very good. But, man, they're well coached. They're playing with attention to detail. Like, I think his scheme is fine. I don't notice anything bad about that. I think he knows what he's doing. But I didn't look at that team and say, that team overachieved. If anything, they missed a lot of opportunities to steal games, win games that they maybe weren't supposed to win. And obviously Levis and the offensive line had a lot to do with that. But, I'm fully saying this as a guy. I don't think Callahan should be made the scapegoat. And I think it would be best for Cam Ward and the franchise to have continuity on the coaching staff, let them grow together. But I can't say that I thought that was a really well-coached team last year.
Well, even to a point, you're right about that. And that's where, you just don't have a disciplined team. The pre-snaps and the post-snap penalties, you just don't have a disciplined team. That's why I believe he changed some things this year. But people are going to go back to what happened at the beginning of training camp last year, the whole Jeffrey Simmons thing. When that happened, I think there were the people that were kind of skeptical of him. I think when that happened, they said he's not going to be a good coach. And it had nothing to do, like you said, the scheme seemed to be pretty good. So it has nothing to do with the scheme. It has more so to do with the approach, how he coaches, his coaching style. And people took that as you're being weak. Like, that's not your team. You didn't establish that it's your team. You had an opportunity to put down a gauntlet, to put on your big boy pants and say, hey, listen, this is my team. I'm the head coach. Jeff, you're a damn good player, but we don't do that. Go to the showers. You're done for the day. And he did not take advantage of an opportunity. And now if he has that opportunity again, people are going to look at it and say, he just did it because. When in fact, no, now he learned from his last mistake, and he's saying, I'm not having that anymore.
To your point, Wes and Hermitage on our tech line says, Vrabel won 9 games his first season. Callahan won 3. Sidebar. As
Vrabel had a better roster.
Thank you.
They had won a playoff game the year before.
Yes, exactly.
It's not the same. I'm not saying Callahan is a bad coach. I'm just saying there weren't many positive things to look at. If he would have kicked Simmons out of practice last year, he'd have a better grip on this team. If fighting occurs this offseason and he handles it the same way, I highly expect the general understanding of his coaching ability to stay the same around town.
See, that was because there's always And I'm going to give you a prime example. There's always a moment in a new coach's tenure where the rubber meets the road, and you have to establish that you are the coach. I am the head coach. Yes, you are a great player. Yes, you are a good player. Yes, you are one of our leaders, but I am the head coach. Prime example, John Harbaugh. When he got to Baltimore, he was tough. He was running us in the dirt. I mean, people were getting, it was just, guys were not used to it. And so a few of us, everybody was talking about it, but it was three of us, myself, Ed Reed, and Troy Smith. We were sort of like designated the guys that would say something in a meeting. So we went through the whole meeting and everything. And right before we broke to our individual meeting, Ed gets up and say, "Hey, coach, I want to say something." And he says this spiel. And then Troy gets up and he said, and then I get up and says myself. And then John says, "You know what? Y'all know what? This is my team. I was going to give y'all a break. I was. Tell them, Rex, we was going to give them a break. But this is my team. Y'all don't try to take over my team. This is me." He stood 10 toes down. And guys respected him after that. And guys thought, hey, man, we got a bunch of leaders on this team, but if we ain't being led by that guy who is the head coach, we ain't got a chance. And he stood up as a rookie head coach with Hall of Famers sitting in that room. Suggs, Ogden, Ray, Ed, all those guys. They're in that room. And he said, nah, I'm not having it. I'm putting my foot down. And guys, it was like, okay, we didn't like it, but we all came together and we went forward. And that's the year that we went to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. So there.
615-737-1025. For all of you Callahaters out there, you heard what Charles Robinson said. What makes you so sure that Brian Callahan is not cut out to be an NFL head coach? Also, I have a question for Willie and Derek that I heard Paul and Joe talking about this morning that I want to get to as well. 615-737-1025. Tune in for player interviews and the latest updates on Titans training camp as the team preps for the 2025 season. Coverage of Titans training camp is presented by Macero and 12 South and Parman Energy Group.
the energy that I felt when you guys came back in the building. I feel your confidence. I feel your excitement, right? Our execution, our effort, and our elimination of sins, right? That's the Titans trio. You want to see execution, you want to see unbelievable effort, and you want to see a team that plays a clean brand of football. Those are the things that we're focused on. What I get motivated by is the way that you guys came into work today. That's what motivates me. That's what gets me excited, because I know what we have in this room, because I believe in what you guys are capable of. And when you come in the building and you wake up in the morning, that's what should get you going, is that you know you got a group of guys in here that have put a ton of time and effort into it, and that we're going to be a team that plays hard and makes life hell for any team we play, because we are capable of being a damn good football team. How many days until we play our first game? Anybody know? 47 days. So we should feel the urgency every time we walk in. It should be urgent as shit. We have to make each other better every day we step out.
That was Brian Callahan, as captured by Titans cameras, addressing the team before training camp. Now, if you missed it this morning, Ian Safar had an excellent mashup at the request of Joe Rexroad with that speech and John C. Reilly and Step Brothers arguing about the drum set. Because Joe said that Brian Callahan sounds like John C. Reilly in that clip. And I'm not sure how close it is, but now that I have that image in my mind, I can hear it. I can hear the similarities. But between that speech and the backwards cap he was wearing that Jared made a big deal about earlier this week, it's led to a lot of people once again bringing up is Brian Callahan, cut out for this. To that point, Brian on our text line, not Brian Callahan, but Brian on our text line says maybe this should be more directed to Derek. But do you feel Brian Callahan is in over his head? From the outside, he doesn't seem to have a grip on the team. There's the Simmons thing, the fake speech, the backwards hat, and so on. I don't have a problem with Brian Callahan addressing the team that way. There was a phrase he used in there, if I heard it correctly, the elimination of sin. I don't like that phrase. That kind of stuck out to me as like, that's a weird way to say like eliminating mistakes. But I don't think it was a put on that Brian Callahan was addressing the team that way. However, and I believe this is what Paul Kaharski said this morning, it seems out of character. It doesn't seem like Brian Callahan's personality to deliver the sort of rah-rah speech.
I sense that. And I think players can sense that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's fake. Like, I don't think he went in there and said, I'm going to do my best Newt Rockney impression when I go in there. But it doesn't seem natural for him to talk that way.
I think that's fair.
He and you know, listen, what I'm going to say, I'm not saying that he's this guy, but you know, I heard this yesterday and I really didn't pay attention to it, but then I'm listening to it today. And the first thing that came to my head was John Harbaugh. This is what John Harbaugh would say. Something like this. I've been in those meeting rooms. I've been in those locker rooms with him. That sounds like a John Harbaugh speech. Maybe he, over the summer, spoke with John Harbaugh, because John Harbaugh, you know, obviously once was a young head coach, inexperienced young head coach. John Harbaugh just had control of the special teams, and they elevated him to head coach. And people were trying to figure out, man, that's a huge jump. Can he do it? Well, what I hear from Brian Callahan in that speech, I heard from John Harbaugh in speeches he gave inside locker room. So I'm not going to get on him about speech. Now, words that you mentioned, those words are done on purpose because they're trigger words. No one just wants to hear, oh, we need to improve as a team, because after a while that gets mundane and goes through your ear and out the other. You don't. But when he give you trigger words, now you think, oh, I'm perked up. I got to go. When he changes the inflection in his voice, he's getting everybody excited. So these speeches from all coaches, whether it be, you know, a guy that can just come off the top of his head with a speech or not, a lot of this stuff is thought about and rehearsed mentally. Because when you go out and you address 52, 53, 54 men, and half of them, you know, are there's a third that are making more than you, you know, you have to learn how to affect them through speech. So it may seem like unlike him to others, but he has to find a way to touch his team. It's in him, but because last year he didn't display it, now everybody's thinking, well, this is not him. Whereas last year, I think he came in sort of like Rand Carthon came in. I'm going to sit back a little bit, and I want to make sure I'm the perfect guy for everybody. I want to be everything to everybody and make everybody happy. Well, Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan, that's not the goal. When you get those positions, you ain't here to make everybody happy. You here to win football games, to develop your players.
Here's my question for the both of you. Willie, we'll start with you because Joe and Paul were talking about this morning about the one quality or trait an NFL head coach must have to be successful. If you are answering that question, because I think everybody would have a different answer, what would your answer be? And do you think that Brian Callahan has that quality or trait?
The first word that comes to mind for me, and probably it came first to my mind because of this specific thing we're talking about, is authenticity. Because there are a million things that go into becoming a really good coach, and a speech to the team is only one of all of these things. There's plenty of great coaches that were not good at. Like I'll give you a couple examples. Like two extremely successful coaches in the NHL. Both have won Stanley Cups. Okay, we've seen this. This is what Hard Knocks teaches us. And D Mace and I have both been in a lot of locker rooms and been addressed by a lot of coaches, and a lot of listeners have been addressed by a lot of coaches. I'm sure some you love to make fun of when it's over. Like,
Yeah.
I know exactly what this coach is going to say before he comes in here. He's going to have the same old sayings, but it's like D Mace was saying, you're addressing your team every day. Hard Knocks teaches you. You're giving it's repetition. You're pounding, especially in training camp, you're pounding the same things into your team every day. And it does get very tiresome if you're using the same words every day. That's why sometimes you got to try to come up with a different way to say the same thing that pounds home the same message, and then everybody's on the same page. But Barry Trotz is not the same presence addressing a group as Peter Laviolette. Peter Laviolette is one of the best. If you YouTube Peter Laviolette and some of he really excels at addressing a team in those quick moments and giving you a message. Barry Trotz, that's not his forte. It's not that he's bad at it. It's just different. And a lot of coaches are like that. But every coach has the strengths and weaknesses. And to pick on one and say, well, that's why Barry Trotz, now he's not a good coach, because that just sounded a little bit over the top. And I tend to agree. That might have been, it may not be his forte to do that. But let's not, that's just one thing that is easy for all of us to hone in on. But that's not really going to tell the story when it's all over.
So, Derek, you answer. I want you to answer that same question too.
The question was.
But to me, if your authenticity would be the word, because if the team knows that that's you up there,
then they're good.
That's our guy, right? Hey, I know exactly what he's going to say. He's going to goof this up. I might laugh at him later, but that's our guy. That's all. That's what you need.
The question is
the buy-in.
What is the one quality or trait an NFL head coach must have to be successful, and does Callahan have it?
I think he must be demanding. I think every coach, you have to be, especially when you're a new coach, because you have to set the tempo. You have to recalibrate or reset the culture in the locker room. So you have to be a demanding coach, because if you are not demanding, then how are the other players going to hold the guy behind him accountable or demand greatness from him if the head coach isn't demanding greatness of everybody on the team? Or is it demanding that you do things the right way? You're here when we are supposed to. So it's all demanding across the board. So to me, that's one quality. And that's where I think last year, Brian Callahan missed it. He missed the ball. It was right down the middle. It was a perfect pitch, and he missed it. He whiffed it. He looked at it a little bit too long. And that is what's causing people to say, he's not a good coach, because right now he seems demanding. But people are like, well, we didn't have that last year, so why should we believe you this? I'm not saying the players are saying that, but I'm saying the fan base. You're reading the responses. The responses are telling you. So because he missed the straight down the middle fastball, it was a lob to him. Perfect. Magic to Worthy, perfect. Dwayne Wade to LeBron James, perfect. And he missed the dunk.
A couple of texters. Chris in Nashville.
You didn't know what I was saying when I was saying Magic to Worthy. You didn't know what I was saying. He looked like
Worthy. North Carolina. Oh, he's got him crossed off. He is not picking that up.
No.
By the way, I think everybody should go back and listen to Chase and Big Joe's excellent interview with new TSU head coach, excellent former Blue Devils player, Nolan Smith on the Chase and Big Joe show. Chris in Nashville says Callahan needs to demand and command respect. He also needs to earn it. One texter said he gave that speech and they went out on the first day without the juice. One texter says more like Callahan sounds like someone playing John Harbaugh in a Tubi movie.
Wow, y'all tough. This is a tough crowd. Man, this is a tough crowd.
Movie.
Goodness, y'all went as low as Tubi, even though Tubi does have good shows on there, okay?
The Cam Ward docuseries at some point.
I'll be watching that pretty soon. So Tubi does have some good movies. But, hey, listen, I get it. I understand it. Do I agree with it? No, but I understand. And I know the fan base, especially when I got to understand that people were not in the situation that I was in. So I see it a little bit different from the fan base. Some people see it the way I do, some people don't. But, you know, when Brian Callahan had an opportunity to stand up and be the coach in the fan base's eyes, he didn't do it. He failed at it. I think, like, hey, yes, I do believe he should have handled the Jeffrey Simmons situation different. I thought he should have kicked Jeffrey out. Not because I think Jeffrey's a bad player. I think he's a hell of a player, but because you are the leader and you can't be doing that. Because in the game, they ain't gonna give you a pass. They're gonna throw you out of the game. That's it. And now you hurt the team. What if Vrabel say don't do dumb bleep to hurt the team? Well, that would have hurt the team. So Brian missed an opportunity to hit home with his team. But that doesn't mean he's not a good coach. Now he's working extra hard to try to prove to people that he's the coach for this team moving forward, that he's the coach that can get Cam Ward to a level that is going to be a winning level for this franchise.
I would also just add that a coach who can recognize what he does well and what he doesn't, you fill out your staff with some holes. And I think that's hopefully what will help Callahan as he grows, is adjust your staff a little bit. He did in the offseason, whereas last year I think he probably went with a little too much youth. I think he's tried, like, especially with Fossil as the special teams coach. Hopefully that will balance out. And so if you're not great at addressing the team, but you've got a guy you can go to, that there's some. When James Franklin was good at this, but he was good at addressing the team. He loved those addressing the team things, motivational speeches and stuff. He also had a guy, and you can go find it on YouTube. Man. He had a hype man on game day he's like a defensive line coach, and he was so awesome. It got all the fans fired. It went viral because they brought the locker room. They were, a little bit ahead of the curve of bringing the cameras in all of the team only kind of areas. But this guy was just so good at it. So if Callahan is like, okay, I watched myself, this is a little, it's not my strength. Here's the guy on my staff that does do that well.
Before we go to break, one texter said Callahan sounded like Woody talking to the toys at Toy Story. Hey, I can do that whole speech if you want. A moving buddy. If you don't have one, get one. 615-737-1025. That's all I'll do. I've watched Toy Story enough because I have a nearly 4-year-old son. 615-737-1025. Speaking of children, as I almost spilled my drink. Speaking of children, we've got to talk about this story out of New Jersey. Let kids be kids, damn it. We will discuss it coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063, The Game. D. Mace Finnegan and Donick 1025, 1063 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Before we get to our next topic, Trey is on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Trey, thank you for calling.
Hey,
Please
guys,
go ahead.
How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Hey, I wanted to know, do y'all think that the roster last year is better than the roster this year on paper? And have they done a good job as far as positioning, getting better players as far as positioning players? And another question I wanted to ask, do y'all think that, what's his name?
Quarterback
the guy
Cam
that we
Ward,
got from Kansas City, the guy that we got from Kansas City, do y'all think he'll see
L'Jarius
the
Sneed.
field this year?
L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah, do y'all think he'll see the field this year?
Thank you for the call, Trey.
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate it.
The fact that Trey forgot L'Jarius Sneed's name is not a great sign.
Says a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is the roster better last year than this year?
I think it is. But only time.
You think last year's roster is better than this
No,
year's
I think
roster?
this year's roster is better than last year, but only time will tell. Because I'm just looking at the moves that they made. They upgraded the offensive line, bringing in Zeitlin. They upgraded the receiver room a tad bit. We're bringing in Lockett, who still, I think he still has something left in the tank, and I think he'll work well in that slot. They went and got guys on the defensive side of the ball. So I think this, as we sit now, and then obviously the quarterback, as we sit now, I think this looks to be a better roster than it was last year. But we said that about last year's roster compared to the year before that, and they turned out not to be that, even though we knew they were bad. We thought, man, they're a little bit better. Look at what they did with the offensive line. Well, didn't work. So I think it's better, but only time will tell.
Speaking of L'Jarius Sneed, Jack in Antioch is on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. He has a question for Derek on Sneed. Jack, go ahead.
Derek, I have a question. I realize I'm in the regular world and not in pro sports, but this Sneed thing puzzles me. If I went to work for somebody, only worked a few months, got injured or came in with injuries, they're paying for my rehab, paying me a salary while I'm laid out. I go to Texas, 800 miles away, and get in a thug shootout. How on earth do I still have a job?
Thank you for the call,
Thank you for the call, Jack. Hey, listen, Jack, I agree with you on everything that you said.
And that incident is alleged.
Yes, alleged.
Alleged.
We don't know that it happened. That's why it's still an ongoing investigation, I believe. But you didn't say anything wrong there because, you're injured. You're still getting paid while being injured. That's written in your contract, so there's nothing they can do about it. But, you should be trying to remove yourself from anything that doesn't do or hasn't had to do with getting healthy. Anything that doesn't have to do with getting healthy, you need to separate yourself from it, or leading you down that road of getting healthy. I can't tell him that he shouldn't have went to Texas, because I think he went there for a camp anyway, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that. I know he had his camp. I don't know if it's in Louisiana or Texas, one of the two. But I can't tell a grown man, and nor can the organization tell a grown man that's on injured on IR, he can't go home during when the team is gone. So yes, he went home. What happened allegedly, he's going to have to atone. He's going to have to, be responsible for that. But what the caller said is I don't disagree with them, not one bit, but it just works a little bit different in the world of professional sports. I think we've seen story after story after story that, okay, if a regular person at a job does it, maybe it doesn't get covered the same. And they're right. But there are advantages that individuals get because they are in this position. They get more chances, more opportunities.
Regarding Sneed, and going back to Trey's question, do we think he'll be on the field? I think at some point he's going to be on the field, but that really isn't the question. It's what is he going to look like on the field? And with all of these complicated things that have happened to him. And I did think it was interesting that not the coaches, but Borgonzi and Brinker commended him for being in town. For he said he didn't have to be here, and I know he wasn't in Tennessee when this alleged incident happened, but they basically said, look, the guy was here. He's been working very hard to get better, but they did say that it was the knee procedure that was the latest thing. And I think I heard him say that the quad injury is now
better
healed, and it's now cleaning up the knee, which they knew was a story to begin with that's keeping him off the field. So I don't know if that's encouraging or discouraging. I think he'll get on the field. They seem very optimistic in their tone that he would at least at some point be playing, but that's really not it. It's they need desperately for him to be an impact guy, not just, hey, he's playing.
Exactly.
Before we get to Ask D-Mace in roughly 15, 20 minutes, I want all of us to take a quick trip to New Jersey. Some may call it the armpit of America. I'm joking. Because New Jersey has brought us so many wonderful things. Tony Soprano, Bruce Springsteen,
The Jersey Shore,
Paul Kaharski. It has also brought us DJ Pauly D and Snooki, so there is a downside.
Oh, that's an upside. What are you talking about?
And the residents of New Jersey also can't pump their own gas, but I won't hold that
The
against them.
Housewives of New Jersey. they
That's
gave
the
us
law.
That. Yeah.
It's a law. You can't pump your own gas in New Jersey. So I'm not going to hold that against them. But I saw this story in multiple places. And I just have to say, we need to let kids be kids. Here is the headline from the New York Times. A little leaguer was suspended for a bat flip, so he went to court. The story reads from David Waldstein, quote, for a moment, it was pure joy for Marco Rocco. By the way, what a fabulous name for a young
kid
man
from New Jersey.
Exactly.
New Jersey. Marco Rocco. For a moment, it was pure joy for Marco Rocco of Haddonfield, New Jersey. Marco, 12, hit a majestic home run in a Little League tournament game against the team from Harrison on July 16th. When the ball sailed over the fence, Marco did what many players in Major League Baseball do in similar moments and what some players in the Little League World Series have done too. On his way to first base, he flipped his bat into the air to celebrate and continued his home run trot. The blast put his team up 8-0 and a step closer to the Little League World Series. But throwing bats around small Little League fields is generally frowned upon by the leagues. Marco was ejected from the game, and by rule, all ejections carry a 1-game suspension for the next game too. That meant Marco Rocco would be barred from playing in a showdown against Elmora Township scheduled for Thursday night with a chance to win the New Jersey State Little League crown. So his father, Mr. Rocco, a lawyer, asked a New Jersey court for a temporary restraining order, claiming that the International Little League organization, which runs the Little League World Series, was acting hypocritically because it actually promotes bat flips. The judge agreed and ruled on Thursday that Marco could play.
Good for Marco Rocco.
Let kids be kids. If a 12-year-old wants to do a bat flip in a Little League World Series game, he doesn't need to go to court to defend it. Come on. Let kids be kids.
This is what's weird to me. The Little League organization said after the ruling that it supported or is this after the judge's ruling or after their own ruling?
The Little League organization said in a statement after the ruling that it supported the decisions of its umpires and was, quote, disappointed that a legal ruling contradicts the integrity of Little League International's values and rules.
I'm disappointed in that because I think Little League should have look at the video. And look, I'm not a big bat flip guy, but all bat flips are not created equal. That would have been a really harsh punishment. And I'm glad. It's a good thing Mr. Rocco happens to be an attorney, and he acted smoothly. Or else I don't even know if I presumably the game was last night. I wonder if they won. But when I looked at the video, because you read the story and you're like, okay, what did he do? What did he do? Because sometimes a bat flip is and accompanied with the way you go about it can be a little bit over the top, right? Taunting, that kind of thing. But he flipped the bat. It wasn't super high. He got excited as he flipped the bat. He looked into his dugout with his teammates and friends, presumably, and not into the other dugout, which that would have been a factor for me. And then he enthusiastically ran around the bases. He wasn't pointing his finger at the other team or anything like that. So we shouldn't just be – this is where I think when you're trying to make a sensible decision, you're deciding to throw a guy out of a game which carries a suspension and a penalty, it shouldn't just be, did he flip the bat? Because I could flip a bat and it wouldn't be the same as somebody else is flipping a bat. You see what I'm saying? Like there was nothing non-fun about that. That was all just a kid being fun.
Especially for kids that age. Sports are all about having fun. And part of that fun when you are little, I'm sure the both of you did it when you were little, is emulating your favorite athlete. If you're a baseball player, you do the same batting stance as your favorite Major League Baseball player, down to, the amount of check swings that they take before they step up to the plate. I remember when I was younger, coaching at a basketball camp in my hometown, there was a kid who loved Gilbert Arenas. And I believe that Gilbert Arenas, before he would shoot free throws, would take the ball and sort of wrap it around his waist a couple of times. And I had to tell this kid, man, you better shoot those free throws, because he was taking forever to do it. But you know what? He was having fun. He loved Gilbert Arenas. He wanted to emulate Gilbert Arenas shooting the basketball at the free throw line. But that's what this is all about. So I mean, I'm glad. I think the court, the judge made the right decision. But I just read this and I said, let kids be kids, man. If the 12-year-old wants to bat flip in a Little League World Series game, let the kid do it. Don't throw him out of the game.
And it's a good point that the major leaguers, there are some guys that bat flip, and you might get hit in the back at some point down the road if you go over the top with it, and that is part of the game. And you should teach the kids that all that goes into a bat flip. So the way he did it, I think, is important, and it wasn't bad. It did not show up. It was just a kid having fun.
I mean, listen, the bat did go pretty high, but even with that,
he was excited.
Even with that, I think that was a moment again. I think as adults, sometimes we think, punish him harshly, that's the best message he's going to learn. When in fact, no, you should have let him run the bases, stopped the game, walked over there to his coach and say, hey, listen, I'm warning him. We're not going to have this anymore. And bring the kid over and say, hey, listen, I know you were excited, but you can't do that. Let the other team know we gave a warning. If he does it again, he's out. That's a teachable moment for a kid, not just throwing him out of the game and then because he's already, maybe you ain't even thinking about the next game and him being suspended. But that's how the rules are based, that's how the rules are written. As an umpire, you are there to observe it all, make the right call, but you get leeway. You get an opportunity to show, to have a little gray area. Hey, kid, come over here. Coach, timeout. Boom. Hey, he can't do that again. I felt he was showing up the other team, but we can't do that. And I'm sure the coach would say, all right, I got you. Hey, don't do that no more.
And also, I think a good coach or even an umpire or an official, whether it's right in the moment, because this is a playoff game. Like this, we know in this area every year, there are teams that are trying to get to Williamsport and often have gotten to Williamsport. It's competitive. But the score of the game, too, I think they were way ahead when he hit it. I think that's something you teach. Like, hey, that may not be the time to do the bat flip.
Exactly.
When we're already ahead, we know we're going to win. That was a big hit. I know you're excited, but, just take it down a little bit or just understand how that goes over in the other dugout and then decide. But there is no rule in Little League rules about specifically you can't bat flip. And they pointed out that ESPN's showing all these bat flips at the Little League World Series. So what's a kid supposed to know? Yeah.
I am glad that the judge made the right decision. I just wanted to highlight that. Again, let kids be kids, especially when they're playing sports. Also, was the umpire Jared?
Wait a minute. Do we need to look at this again?
I'm just saying Jared doesn't like backwards hats. So you can also imagine Jared doesn't like bat flips. Maybe Jared has a long-lost cousin in New Jersey. Marco Rocco Stillman. I don't know.
Stillman Rocco.
Haddonfield, New Jersey, hometown of my former teammate at Vanderbilt and future NBA, well, eventually made it to the NBA, Matt Maloney, who was a heck of a player. He played some years with Charles Barkley and Akeem in Houston, some pretty good teams.
Very good.
Haddonfield is kind of a Philadelphia, South New Jersey, close to Philly.
Jersey.
Got to work on that accent.
Yeah, I got to
a little
work on
bit.
that accent. Yeah, I felt I did.
615-737. That's all right. My parents are native New Yorkers. My dad is from Brooklyn and my mom is from Queens. I obviously wasn't born or raised in New York, but I think just sort of through osmosis, or I guess genetics, like sometimes, especially when I'm around them,
Queensbridge.
I feel like I get a bit of a northeastern accent, but nevertheless, 615-737-1025. Just wanted to highlight that. Let kids be kids, damn it. 615-737-1025. It is time for Ask D-Mace. So get your questions in now. Call us, text us, 615-737-1025. Anything and everything is available. You can ask about the Titans. You can ask about life. You can ask about hemorrhoids. You can do whatever you want. Derek is open to those questions. 615-737-1025. 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. Help a child in Middle Tennessee step into a new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, visit theGameNashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615 is sponsored by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now,
D-Mace.
on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's time for Ask D-Mace on D-Mace, Vingan and Donick, 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you have a question for Derek, you can get them in now. Let's start with Doug on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Doug, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, man.
What's
and
going
maybe
on?
It's just me, but you've come through for me many times, D. Mason, in times of peril. Justin Fields yesterday had a injury, and it went from knee to ankle to a toe. So, D. Mace, I ask you, heck, screw D. Mace, I ask all of you guys there, have you ever heard of an injury that went from one body part to another in the poor reporting of media? That's ridiculous.
Thank you for the call, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Now, I don't remember the knee and the ankle. I just saw the report that it was a lower leg injury that led to him being placed on a cart and taken off the field.
Then it ended up being
It was a dislocated toe.
Yeah, ooh, that got hurt. Oh man. But I mean, sometimes and I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the knee, then the ankle, then the toe. I just first heard it was lower body injury, and then I heard it was the toe. Now, I'm not scrolling through, Twitter or anything like that, and I'm not suggesting that our caller it was as well. But sometimes when you're rushed to just get a story out there, sometimes you may put in information that is not thoroughly vetted, meaning you just wanted to put out there that he was injured. So, well, it looked like a knee because he was limping. Oh, it looks like more of his ankle now. And then you wait and it's his toe. Why? Because people always want to have the first story out there. That's basically what it is. Instead of sitting back and waiting for a final diagnosis of his injury and then putting it out there. But everybody wants to be the first person. So you're gonna get individuals trying to give you real-time information, and they're not even getting it.
Let's go to James on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. James, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for taking my phone call. Derek, I just got a quick question for you. I just want to know whether in college or your time in the pros, and not linebacker or off defensive lineman, but what defensive back hits you the hardest and that you just dread having to go against, either in college or the pros, or you can even break them down and give me two, both give me a college individual and a pro individual if you'd like. And before I get off here, I just want to let you know that Tennessee, University of Tennessee and Michigan State have never, ever played in their two universities' historical history. With that, I'll hang up and let you answer the question. Thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
Wow. Man, I didn't know that. Okay, as far as which defensive backs don't hit. They just don't hit hard. It's just that's not what they're there to do. They're there to cover you. They may get a solid shot, but I never got hit by a defensive back. Now I tell you one thing, by a defensive like secondary guy, it was Pollard. Was it? Yeah. Pollard, they played here, right? Yeah, Pollard. I had just got traded from Baltimore, from the Jets to Houston, and I played Baltimore back-to-back weeks. 1 week I played Baltimore when I was with the Jets, and then the next week I played Baltimore when I was at Houston. So I played back-to-back games against Baltimore. But I caught a pass, a slant route, and I don't think he knew it, but he hit me so hard. I was like, oh, I want to just go down and stay down. He hit me so hard. It was a solid hit. It was a slant. I caught the ball, but I don't even realize how hard I don't think he realized how hard he hit me. But man, oh man, he got me perfect shot. I think it was somewhere in like the rib or something. He took the wind out of me. I was like, man, I'm getting too old for this. That's when I knew I'm done.
Quickly, Jason in Clarksville on our text line has a dad joke for D-Mace.
Let's go.
Coldplay hasn't released new music in years. Then they made 2 new singles in one night.
Man, oh man, this is never going to stop with those two.
As
Never
far
gonna
as I
stop.
know, there were no situations at the
No.
Coldplay concert in Nashville earlier this week.
Nah, I think everybody got the memo.
Everybody was on their best behavior.
Smart people here in this town.
Exactly.
Keep it on the down low.
Oh,
Joey
man.
is on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Joey, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, D-Mace. So this is football related, but it's also related to kids as I'm a father now. As you reflect over the highlights of your career, all the things you've achieved, congrats on your recent induction to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
When you reflect now as a father, are you able to see through your parents' eyes and how proud they are of you when you look at your kids and the accomplishments that they have?
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, I think as a parent, or as a kid first, you don't know how proud your parents are, especially like Willie and our generation, where parents were just a little bit different. Some fathers didn't outwardly show their love for you, but you knew they loved you by the things that they did. So as a kid, that's the only way, how they're presented to you is how you receive it. But I think as you get older, you understand, like, okay, you start to see it through their eyes and you try to approach it a little bit different. And that's what I have done with my children, Bailey and DJ. I've approached them through the lens of what my parents did, but then I wanted to do a little better in supporting them and being happy for them and being sad for them too when things didn't go right. But my children always know, no matter what, that I'm proud of them. I tell them that all the time. Even if nothing has happened, I'm still proud of them, who they're becoming. So I do see it. And in sports, my son didn't play much sports. He played football for a little bit. He ran track for a little bit, and played lacrosse. But those wasn't his things. He did it, to be active. But he found out very quickly that he didn't want sports to sort of be his thing. He played it, but he didn't want it to be his thing. But I was still proud of him. Even though he didn't do much out on the football field, I was just proud that he went out there and wanted to be a part of what was going on and want to be a teammate.
A lot of people want to get in on Ask D-Mace
Let's
today.
go.
Let's go to Gary on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Gary, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, Derek, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. I was just curious on the location of training camp, if you feel it makes a difference. I know you were with Tennessee and Baltimore. Pittsburgh goes to St. Vincent College, 30 miles away in the boondocks, and they stay in dorms. Like tonight, Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf will be in a dorm. I think it builds more camaraderie than going home each night or going to Twin Peaks each night. I just feel like the Steelers have it down pat. I just don't know what your thoughts are, how you did it in Baltimore. I walk the Riverwalk and see the bubble here, but it just doesn't seem like it should be here. And I just wish you well with the hemorrhoids. I got mine cut out 20 years ago. Greatest thing I ever did. No more. But thank you, guys.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. The whole going away for camp and staying at home, some coaches still enjoy doing that and we did it in Baltimore. We stayed in state, but our camps were at Westminster, which was about 45 minutes outside of probably a little bit, maybe about an hour outside of Baltimore proper. So, but it was 45 minutes or 30 minutes from the facility. But you still had to drive out there. But it does give you a sense of camaraderie because it's just y'all. The fans are out there, but it's not your family. You're not going home every day where you got to deal with this and deal with that and come back. No, we try to isolate you for those 2 weeks. Your family understands. We're going to give you an opportunity to go home throughout this whole process, but we're all sleeping in hotels or we're all sleeping in dorms. Now, after a while, head coaches tend to let veteran guys go home a little bit more than that. But guys are like, man, I'm 30, 45 minutes away from the house. I'm not going home. I'm tired. We're not bad. Well, back then we were not done with meetings until 10 o'clock at night. So nobody's going to get up. Nobody's going to walk out of their meeting sore and tired, get in their car and travel 45 minutes up the road. And it's not a good drive. It's just a straight drive. Nobody's going to do that. So guys tend to stay in the locker, tend to stay on campus. So I like the fact that teams try to go away for a period of time and let it just be them.
Before we get to our next call, Joe Rexroad has chimed in and says, hemorrhoids, that's way nastier than gout, and you ripped us. Where do we stand on this important issue? Hemorrhoids or gout?
You make the call. Oh, man.
To be fair, Joe, gout has become a part of your personality.
Exactly. And you have more ailments than anybody, Joe. Something always happens to you for whatever reason. Something happens to Joe. So that's why we get on you.
Let me just say this, Rexroad. If Derek has hemorrhoids, as long as you've had gout, then we'll talk. But gout has become a defining characteristic of your personality. That's all I'm saying. Let's go to one more call before break. Let's go to Wes on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. Wes, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Oh, good Friday, guys.
Hey, Wes.
First, I want to say I agree with the previous caller. I didn't get hemorrhoids cut out, but yeah, no more butt stuff.
Can you say that?
Yeah, you can.
He said that right when he was hanging up.
All right, fair
Here's
enough.
my dad joke for you, man. Where do lizards go to get their fallen or broken tail fixed?
I don't know.
No idea.
The retail shop.
Retail.
So I got a point for that one. That was a good one.
That's a dad joke, but go ahead.
But yeah, man. So my question for you, D-Mace, is this. I'm keeping it out of football because there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened about football this week. So I don't want to do rah-rah stuff anymore. If you could swap any lead actor of two movies and replace them with another lead actor of another movie, who would it be? For example, if you could take Will Ferrell out of Step Brothers and replace him with somebody else, who would that be? I'll hang up and listen.
Oh, man.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I can't
That
take
requires
Will
a lot of
Ferrell.
thought.
Yeah, I can't take Will Ferrell out of Stepdad. What was it?
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers.
Yes, with John C. Reilly.
There is a Stepdad one, but Step Brothers, I can't take because they fit so well. It's like a hand in glove. They just fit so well. I think a few Supermans I would have taken out.
Have you seen the new Superman?
I hadn't seen that one, but the ones prior, some of them, it's just like I would rather have another actor in there. Let me see. This is one I would probably have to really think about. It's a good question, Wes, but off the top of my head, the only one I can think of is Batman when played Batman. I didn't like him in that.
George Clooney?
Yeah, not Clooney, but Ben Affleck. I didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, that was a tough sell.
They should have went back to Kevin, what's his name? That was in it with
Christian
Bane.
Bale?
Yeah, they should have went back to Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
I like Christian Bale. So if they could have swapped out Ben Affleck for Christian Bale or somebody else.
Where is she?
Yeah. It was horrible, man.
Where's Scarecrow?
It was horrible with Ben Affleck.
615-737-1025. Okay, quickly. One texter says, Rexroad, this is not Rexroad, but a texter says, I have gout in both big toes. I hope I never have hemorrhoids too. Gout is the most painful thing I've ever dealt with. That's what I'm saying, Rexroad. When Derek has hemorrhoids, as long as you've had gout, then we'll talk. 615-737-1025. We have plenty of other questions for Derek. We'll get to them next. Willie Darnick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063, The Game.
Hey, happy Friday, y'all. This is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a goal to shed some extra pounds only to face disappointment. But at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach. Now, here is how they do it. Because they will give you a comprehensive weight loss program, which is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge, and it addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. They customize one for me, and they can do the same for you. And I am seeing results. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
Did you choose this song? I mean, I love Annie.
The kids have a hard knock life now, man. You get suspended for flipping bats. I mean, come on, let the kids be kids,
right?
Man.
You also had a hard knot life,
Exactly.
you
I
know,
had
with
a
the
hard
hemorrhoids.
Exactly, man. We all having a hard knot life.
Speaking of where a kid can be a kid, Alex from Franklin says, what does Derek think about the Chuck E. Cheese mascot getting arrested in Florida in front of the kids?
Oh, snap. What did he do?
A Chuck E. Cheese mascot has been arrested in Florida after a customer ratted him out. See what the
rat it.
After a customer ratted him out as an alleged thief, police said. A worker dressed in a Chuck E. Cheese costume at one of the kid-friendly pizza chain's franchises in Tallahassee, Florida, was taken into custody Wednesday night on larceny charges and hauled out of the restaurant in handcuffs as children looked on.
That's a
I
shame.
knew
You
I
can't
shouldn't
do that.
trust Charles.
The
I knew it.
suspect was dressed head to toe in a
You
Chuck
can't
E.
do
Cheese
that.
costume when police confronted him around 7:30 p.m. local time.
You can't do that. You can't. And I mean this like really, like honestly, it's like, okay, larceny. It wasn't murder. It wasn't larceny. He stole something. Take him in the back room, tell him to take off the suit, and then cuff him because that's a traumatic event. They're seeing Chucky get arrested.
Their idol.
Exactly. Their idol is getting
That was the
being
moment.
hauled off
that's
to
Chucky.
jail.
That was the moment their childhood died.
Not Chucky.
Exactly. All those kids should have stood up and blocked the door.
I need to find the video of Chucky.
They need to be armed.
You do know what Chuck E. Cheese's government name is? Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Is it?
Chuck E. Cheese.
I never
The
knew
E
that.
stands for entertainment.
I never knew that.
Charles
know that?
Entertainment Cheese.
No, maybe I did at one point, but I forgot it once the kids got big. When they became grown up, we didn't go
That's
back.
fair, that's fair.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
So is he a prison rat now?
yes, because somebody ratted him out because he ran away with the cheese.
Y'all got any cheese? Let's go
Who's
to
got the peanut butter?
let's go
Oh,
to
man.
Nate on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Nate, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
What's up, guys? I got a quick dad joke for you that I heard yesterday. Where do basketball players go when they need a new uniform?
Where?
New Jersey.
I like that. That is a good.
Well, we
dad
did talk
joke.
about New Jersey today,
Exactly.
so-
That's clever. That is clever. I like
Fell-
that.
That works.
Fell in line with the themes of the show.
By the way,
Exactly.
here's the picture of Chucky
see, that's
being
so
hauled out.
wrong. That is so wrong right there.
We'll tweet
Oh.
that out. We'll tweet that out. Go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
But why? I mean, I know as a fan, you are prone to focus more on the bad than good. Do you think that's why no one remembers Callahan getting on to Will Levis last year saying, what the bleep are you doing when he threw the ball backwards? I mean, they're saying that, yeah, he should have gotten on to
Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeff Simmons. But, I mean, he did get on to Will Levis. I know it's a little different because Simmons is a big vet, and no pun intended with big. And Levis was basically a rookie. So, yeah, it's different. But, I mean, I don't see it the same that way,
No, I
Thanks,
get what
Nate.
you. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate. I get what you're saying. That he was demanding and assertive, and Willie even threw out authentic what you want your coach to be. I think in that moment, you saw with Will Levis, he was all of those. That was authentically his frustration. He was demanding excellence in that moment, and he wasn't getting it. So those moments people forget about. Why? Because there are other moments that overshadow them. More important, most notable, the Jeffrey Simmons in practice thing. So people see that it dwarfs what happened with Will Levis, because that's what a head coach is. He demanded excellence, and Will wasn't giving it to him, and he showed that authentic raw emotion by saying, "What the are you doing? Because I just told you don't do something that is going to hurt us. We should win this game," and you went out and you did.
Let's go to Adam on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Adam, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, D-May. So this is what I think about. All right. So I think about the 99 team. And if we would have got that yard and we win the Super Bowl, I think the next year we probably repeat. People don't talk about that, but I
thought that team was pressing so much. Like, as a 14-year-old kid watching it, I'm like, oh my God, Del Greco can't hit a kick. Steve doesn't ever throw it behind Eddie like that. Like, there's so many things of impression in that game. So it leads me to this question. I haven't seen a Super Bowl since then. Obviously, we haven't seen a Super Bowl. Do you think in my lifetime, I'm 40 years old, about to be 40, I will ever see a Titans win a championship? And if not, so it's the Titans or the Preds. Who wins one first, and how many years do I have to wait to see that?
Thank you for the call, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Adam, I'm going to say yes because I pray you have a long and prosperous life. So first and foremost, I'm going to say yes, you will see a championship. But I'm not sure. I mean, that may be a question, Willie, because he knows like the Predators in and out. And he knows how close they are or they aren't. I'm only looking and see because of last year they had taken a step back, but I don't know how far that step back they took. How far did they take, and how long will they be able to sort of get themselves ahead of where they was last year and back at that point where, you know, they're competing, you know, for a championship that hasn't been here for a good while. So, but as far as the players' makeup, I don't know if the Predators, how close they are or how close. I can tell you where they're not close. I can say the Titans aren't close, but football is a funny sport because I may think they're not close now, but they get in the season, things hit, and they find themselves like the Washington Commanders, like the Houston Texans, either in divisional playoffs or NFC and AFC championship games.
I think defining your season as a success can mean so many different things to different people based on the expectation level. But the whole, will they win in our lifetime? Mm-hmm. It's such a hard question to answer. And I brought this up to you guys a few weeks ago, but when the Panthers won for the second straight year, as recently as 10 years ago, you would never have thought, like, if you're a lifelong Panther fan, like, could you say, hey, will they ever win a Stanley Cup in our lifetime? It looked a long way away. They went 20 years without winning a playoff series.
They were one of the most irrelevant franchises in the NHL for close to 2 decades, I would say.
And then here they are. When the Marlins always get joked about, right? The Marlins have won 2 World Series. And most years they're not a factor. Most years, and not even close to one. And then there's all these other teams that are right there every year, or open up several windows of 6, 7 straight years of being right there, but never win it. So it's an impossible question to answer. And I think the question is, who would you rather root for? A team that's kind of in it every year and you got hope every year, or a team that's irrelevant for a long time, but they have a championship?
Yeah.
Let's go to Daniel on our phone line, driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. Daniel, thank you for waiting. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hey guys, I got nothing about hemorrhoids, but I was wondering, does it have anything to do with the tush push?
No, it's a good one. Y'all got jokes. All y'all got jokes. Okay.
Well, listen, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I'm getting up there near 70 years old, and I'm wondering, when I was a kid coming up, I used to follow different, my football team, my baseball team. And I always knew the names of the players. They were pretty stable, and they were a team year after year after year. And it seems like over the years that's begun to degrade to where I don't even know the name of my coach half the time because everybody's moving around all the time. What's changed that's caused that sort of breakdown of the old kind of my team spirit situation?
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Money. That's what's changed it. The money is so enormous now. GM, owners and GMs, the patience is very thin. So there's only a couple of franchises, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. When you talk about longevity, those are the first 2 organizations you think of. Why? Look at the tenures of their head coaches. Both of them. One of them, I think, is over 20. And one, I think Harbaugh is close to 20, if not. So when you get that stability, you're able to stick with one team and you're able to know the coach and all this other stuff. But in today's game, that is few and far between. I think probably if they, they say the average, playing career of an NFL player has gone up. It's like 3.5 to 4 now. I would dare to say that, the expectancy of a head coach keeping his job is probably 2 years. That made 2.5 years. Would y'all say it would? Do y'all think it would be more than that? Because now you're getting paid so much money and teams want immediate success, even when a team said we're going to be patient. Patience may change in the middle of the season. Patience may change at the end of the season, depending on how that season looks. I was talking to somebody today before I got into work. They were talking about, they're talking about patience, but let Mike Vrabel come in here and wipe up the Tennessee Titans. That patience is gone.
Well, you think about Andrew Burnett and how it seemed a little bit against convention to allow him to stay on after one bad year and one really, really good year right before that. But there was a lot of sense of, well, man, you gotta get a new guy in there, But that speaks to what you're talking about. It seems to be less patience with more money, all of that.
Quickly, our last question from Austin, and this is not a planted question. Austin says, Derek, my question for you is, what is your favorite thing about your friendships with Willie and Adam?
Oh man, everything. I think both you, Adam, and Willie, the friendship is there because it's organic. We all three are different, but we're alike in some ways. But we all have our sort of differences, and our listeners can hear the differences in when we're talking. So that's what I enjoy about our friendship, that we all have differences, but we're all the same in a lot of ways, and we know how to feed off of one another, whether it be on the radio or if we were just talking to each other off radio. So that I do appreciate. I think we all genuinely care about one another.
Indeed, we do. Indeed, we do. And you know what? The first anniversary of DVD is not too far off in the distance.
Absolutely.
In mid-September, we'll have to get ourselves a cake.
Yeah.
Maybe a Fudgy the Whale.
Hey,
from
Sue.
Carvel.
Hey, Sue. We need a cake. That anniversary is coming around. We're gonna need that cake.
615-737-1025. Outstanding participation from all of you for Ask D Mace this week. Coming up next, yesterday, we spoke to ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick. We had such a great time talking to him. He was so passionate about Cam Ward. We're going to replay that interview for you coming up next if you missed it yesterday. So we will replay our interview with ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick coming up next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. D. Mace Finnegan and Donick 1025, 1063 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan. Pleased to be joined by ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick. Louis, thank you so much for your time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We are doing great. Thank you so much. So, you were one of Cam Ward's biggest supporters in the lead up to the NFL draft.
Yeah.
You also said Ward reminds you of Patrick Mahomes in some aspects, which turned a lot of heads around here when you make that comparison. What specifically reminds you of Mahomes when you watch Cam Ward?
Well, it was two things. One, his playing personality reminds me of Patrick, being that, look, Cam has a very short memory. He's super confident in his ability to make every throw. And even when he wasn't successful in making the throws that he wanted to make, it didn't deter him from continuing to fire and continuing to, push the limits of what he is capable of doing. And that's unique. Some people get gun shy. Some people, when they have some adversity, they don't maintain that same style, that same attitude, that same football character, so to speak. And that doesn't faze Cam. From a stylistic perspective, you see, and I'm going to work backwards, but you see Cam's ability to throw the football off platform, different arm angles, throw it like a baseball player. And when you combine that with the very short memory, that's just what has made Patrick great. That's what has made him someone who you never count him out. You never feel as though there's a throw that can't be made, that a situation that can't be overcome, minus getting his head knocked in because his offensive line can't pass protect, which we saw, no quarterback can overcome. Now, when you work backwards from that, see, the thing is that's not all who Patrick is, obviously. Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson before him, all the people that have tutored him in Kansas City they're all fundamentalists as far as footwork, eyes, progressions, ball placement, taking care of the football, throw the football away when need be. A punt isn't a bad thing, but make defenses defend every blade of grass. Those are all the things that Cam was taught down in Miami, the kind of things that began when he was at Washington State and Incarnate Word. So he has a nice fundamental base underneath him, but he also has the ability to do the kind of things that every scout, every coach can't coach. And that's that ability to make the kind of plays where you just sit there on the sideline, cross your arms and go, damn, that was sweet. And as a fan, you sit there and go, where did that come from? So he has that unique quality. So people kind of got a little up in arms and got a little, beside themselves about the fact that I said, look, he's just going to come into the league being that's not what I was saying. But stylistically, you can't deny that he has those characteristics. His own GM, Mike Borgonzi, who was in Kansas City with my guy Brett Veach for all those years, he said it too. And it's one of the things that has drawn him one of the things that drew him to him. So we'll see if in the end they can build the kind of structure around him that Kansas City had in place for Patrick and has continued to provide Patrick with. Because if you can do that, now you're cooking.
Because our primary focus, Louis, this season will be on the development of Cam Ward, what would you consider a successful rookie season from him? What must you see from him?
Yeah, I think naturally with that question, at least, like, what kind of numbers would you want to see? Look, I'll just say this. I think what you'd want to see is, okay, so a natural progression from his college days at Miami, which leads you to make sure that you are playing as on time and in rhythm as you possibly can. So you're not putting yourself in harm's way. So you're not exposing the ball. So you're not, doing some things in the pocket that you were able to get away with in Miami that you're not going to be able to get away with in the pros. And quite honestly, it could get you on the IR list in a hurry if you do some of those things. So you want to see that. You want to see him being able to see the full field. You want to see him distribute the football effectively. You want to see him be great on third downs and be in the top, the top 10, top 15 in the league on third downs. in 2-minute situations, in the fourth quarter when they're behind. All of those metrics, all of those areas that really you judge quarterbacks truly by. Like completion percentage to me, without factoring in difficulty of throws and yards per attempt, doesn't mean anything to me. You want to see the advanced metrics be where he's in the top half of the league, and you want to and because if you can do that, if he can do that, being a rookie, especially with all the new pieces that they're bringing in there, all the young wide receivers that they brought in, the new wide receiving core, the offensive line has to take shape. Then, again, you're really, really going. You really are. And it's not impossible. We've seen other guys do this. We saw Jaden Daniels do it. We saw CJ Stroud do it. You can hit the ground running and have people going, damn, I didn't expect that. Now, that may be unfair expectation, but he is the number 1 overall pick. And I do believe he has that kind of talent. So I think to see those kinds of things, to me, would denote a successful season, and ultimately for his team to be, fighting for a 500 plus record.
Louis Riddick joining us on the program. Louis, what are your thoughts on Brian Callahan as a head coach? And do you think he is the right coach to maximize Ward's talents and get out of him all of the things that you were just addressing?
From a personality and demeanor perspective, he is one of the most enjoyable people to talk to of all the guys that we've sat and talked to in my time, doing live games and talking to these guys in production meetings as I've ever talked to. Very even keel, very knowledgeable about the process that it takes in order to build a quarterback from the ground up, manage him during the game, stay in tune with him during the game, getting into situations that help him remain comfortable, giving him some leeway to go ahead and, play outside of the box, help him, decipher what he saw coming off the football field so he can make the, appropriate corrections and then go out there and improve. These are all things that, from my experience with him and from talking to people who have been around him, lead me to believe that, yeah, he is the right person. He will be able to get that done. Now, there's just a lot that's going to go into Cam's ultimate success failure. Obviously, Brian's a big part of it, but I don't think there's nothing that I've seen from what I've been exposed to with him or with anybody else has told me about him that would lead me to believe that he is not the guy.
We'll talk with Louis Riddick, ESPN NFL analyst, and over 20 years of NFL experience via player or in upper management. Now, Louis, Brian has been, he's been in a situation where this roster isn't as good as it has been in previous years. The last couple of years have been bad for them. Now, upon taking his job and knowing that he's coming into his second year, it's almost like a lame duck situation, so to speak, with him. So what is it outside of, because a lot of this is about development. And I know when you get into it, the records mean a lot for the people here in the city. But what you want to see is the development. And Borgonzi and Brinker talked about that yesterday. I want to know, you've watched this team. Where are they best situated right now? Is it on offense or defense that's going to help their young quarterback?
Well, I think I'll answer it this way, Derek. I think what I'm hoping is that the offensive line, first and foremost, becomes a point of strength for them, to where, for the sake of Cam's development, it's a football team that can do a little bit of both, as far as being able to control the ball on the ground, capture the line of scrimmage, put him in favorable second and third down situations, to where he's not constantly ice skating uphill, where it's 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11. He can't play on time. He can't get his feet set. He can't go through progressions, because they've now. Because if that is solid, okay, let's just say they're in the top 12 to 14, 15 in a metric, like, I don't know, pressure percentage allowed or pass block win rate, whatever advanced metric you want to use, then he has a shot. Okay. And that is something that I think, that Mike would be very happy with, if he could get that kind of production. And they've invested a lot of resources in the offensive line, and it needs to pan out. They need to develop that. And I think everything from there will roll downhill. And that's probably where my eyes are going immediately with this football team. The same way it went there when we're talking about CJ Stroud when he came out. We're talking about Jaden when he was in Washington. Because I think if you can get that, everything else will take care of itself. Cam will do his part. He's going to have some hiccups, but he'll do his part. The wide receiver group here will do their part. It really will. And they have built this wide receiver room in a way that really does, and you know this better than anyone, that it complements one another in terms of you've got different body types, you've got versatile inside outside type guys, you've got catch and run guys, you've got guys who are big and strong who can fight for the football down the field, you've got youth, you've got experience, so you got a little bit of everything. And so now that's a lot to kind of get to come together. But I think if you can just see that trending the right way, I don't think that this has to be a lame duck season for him in any way, shape, or form, regardless of the fact that he wasn't Mike's coach. And I would hope, and this is one of the things that I think about a lot, and it's hard to do this, but I would hope that the current regime does not automatically just look at him and be looking for reasons to fire him so they can just bring in, quote unquote, their guy. Because whenever you do that kind of stuff, whenever you just kind of automatically in your head have, this ain't my guy, I'm just looking for my guy. See, first of all, you're already kind of like thinking that you're smarter than you probably really are. And you think you have all the answers when you really don't, because nobody really does. Instead of just taking it as it comes and taking it organically and trusting the fact that, look, the people who were there before him and a lot of other people who weren't even associated with Tennessee would tell you that Coach Callahan is a damn good coach, okay? And we all know that success and failure is always on a razor's edge in the NFL, and it isn't just on one thing. There are plenty of things that can screw that up. And a lot of times it's the people up top who think they know every damn thing are the ones who are screwing it up. So just give him the resources, objectively evaluate it, and as if you are seeing progression up front, balance, Cam looks more comfortable, the team is playing a winning style of football. To get to your part about the defense is playing winning football, meaning they're not just getting run through, having time of possession totally out of whack to where you can't even get your young quarterback on the ball, on the field. They're turning the football over at a reasonable rate. Then I think this should be one of those building development seasons to where you go, okay, we've established the foundation. We brought in a lot of new people in here. Let's see what 2026 brings. The last thing I'll say is look, it can happen that way. You know that teams can make quick turnarounds in the NFL because that's the way it's designed. I mean, Washington just did that last year. Now, I know they all came in together, and coach and head coach and general manager were both aligned. Dan Quinn and Adam Peters were aligned together, but it can happen. It can happen.
Now, what do you make of the Will Levis situation? How does a organization pivot? Because you've been in upper management, and I'm sure you've seen just about every scenario that happens right before a season. Typically, you don't get a guy opting to have surgery right before the season. That's something that, or right before camp, that's something that they usually do beforehand and everybody knows. But it just seemed like this one came out of the blue, at least to everyone around here that is not a part of the inside. But how do you pivot as an organization when something like that happens?
I think in this case, man, I honestly, Derek, I don't think it's a big deal simply because Cam is there. And the objective analysis of this situation is that, look, Will Levis is not Cam Ward. And honestly, I don't know how this decision-making process went as far as, him having the surgery now. But I think I would venture to say, look, from the time the season ended last year to when they did their off-season evaluations to right up until the point where he decided to have surgery, I would say that pivot has been in place for quite a while. And I know you can say, well, hey, wait a minute. Maybe Will Levis wasn't given a fair shot either. Maybe Will Levis didn't have the kind of situation that any young quarterback could succeed in. Well, maybe not, but I think if you're just comparing them apples to apples as far as prospects are concerned, people always get up in arms about when you pick one player over another. Look, I like Will Levis, and I know that the previous regime liked Will Levis. I know they thought he had some redeeming qualities. He is not Cam Ward. So I hate the fact that, he's injured. I hate the fact that he wasn't able to, really take advantage of, his situation as a second-round quarterback and someone who had opportunities to start and become a solid starter in the NFL. But for me, look, it is what it is, man. You're trying to level up all the time in the league, and Cam is just a better prospect. It's just as simple as that. And how it's come about that he has got this surgery now, or whatever decision, however the timeline worked out, to me, ultimately, once the games kick off, it ain't going to really matter. It's not going to really matter, because I think if you watch Cam at Miami, you watch him at Washington State, you watch Will at Kentucky, you watch Will's, his time so far in the NFL, you'll see they're on different levels, dude. They're on totally different levels. So that's their job as a front office. That's their job as an organization, to put the best product out there on the field. And Cam Ward gives them an opportunity to have a better product out there on the field.
Louis Riddick from ESPN is with us. Great analysis. One quick follow-up on Levis, and put a GM hat on, Louis. Yeah. He goes away for a year, Levis. Mm-hmm. We recalibrate the expectation level. Hopefully, Cam Ward gains his footing. You would still have Levis under contract for a very inexpensive price. Could you see the two coexisting if both parties were comfortable about accepting the role? Could Levis be a viable backup for the Titans when he comes back in a year?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm Will Levis, I'm thinking, look, I was dealt kind of a little bit of a raw deal. Like I didn't get a chance to be in a situation that totally maximizes my abilities. And I haven't maximized my abilities. And maybe it's time for me to get a fresh start and find a different situation to where I know, maybe I can compete for playing time. He can compete for playing time in Tennessee. So I don't think he would want that situation. If I were him, I wouldn't want that situation. I'd want to go somewhere else. And that's not because I'm, running from the competition. I mean, that's just, I'm just looking for a fresh start in a new place. I wouldn't want to just already, given the short amount of time I've had in the league, to say, well, you know what? I'm happy. I'm a backup. I'll just be a backup. No, I wouldn't do that. There's enough recent examples of guys who've had to move around a few times in order for them to really find their footing, and something clicks to where, and you sit there and you go, damn, where'd that come from? Like we didn't expect that. After year one, year two, people had already kind of written their career, their career story. And that it's just too soon to do that. And for Will, it's too soon to do that. I don't believe he'll be as good as Cam can ultimately be if they were both put in the same situation. But if I were him, I'd be looking to move on. Now, we'll see if Tennessee grants him that, if they look at it the same way. That'll be an interesting one, though.
One more for you that I didn't feel like got talked about very much from the national perspective at the time, because the whole Shedeur Sanders phenomenon and when was he going to be picked. But what they said afterward, they clearly fell in love with Cam Ward, and they fell in love pretty early with him. And they decided, no matter what the offers would be coming in for a trade, that if we feel like he's the guy, we're going to take him at number one, despite the fact that a lot of evaluators had him as, I don't know, somewhere the 6th, the 8th best overall prospect in the draft. Maybe not a slam dunk first overall pick. When we heard what the Giants reportedly offered, which would be take the 3rd pick in the draft this year, the Giants' first-round pick next year, and then some of the other things thrown in, we had a really good debate on what was the right move. So when you look at that and you're looking at where the Titans roster is right now, how tough a decision would that have been for you?
I would have done the same thing that Mike did. and the powers that be in Tennessee did. And I would have thought about it, obviously, because you always feel as a team builder, you're thinking, look, the more assets I have, the more draft assets, draft capital that I have, the better chances I have of like being able to ultimately maybe build this thing into a super powerhouse. So if I can move down 2 spots and gain an extra one and some other draft capital and, you know, I don't know, find some other way to kind of address this situation at the quarterback position, whether that be with, if I thought, you know, whether that be with Shedeur or be with a Jackson Dart or be with a Tyler Shuck or whoever it is, or Dylan Gabriel, whoever it is, although you wouldn't have drafted any of those guys probably that high. There's some temptation for front office people to do that. But, you know, see, the cool thing about football and about the draft and about evaluation is that it is so subjective. It really is. And quarterback evaluation in particular is very subjective. And we've seen that over the years. And one person can look at 5-6 games of a player and be like, you know what, that guy's a surefire franchise quarterback. And other people can look at him and go, he's a backup, maybe. One guy can look at a guy's arm and go, that's great arm strength. Other people go, damn, he can't throw that ball at all. And you know what? You know who that leads you to? It leads you to Shedeur Sanders. You heard the whole range of that on this guy. Mm-hmm. Where like you heard people say, well, he doesn't have an NFL caliber arm. And I can pull up 20 throws of him ripping the ball on a rope on the move, plus 25 air yards down the field, fitting it into a box. And people would still go, nah, that's not good enough. It's like, well, what the hell? What are you talking about? It's not good enough. It's right there. What do you mean it's not good enough? And see, personal biases come into it. Personalities come into it. All of that stuff comes into this. And it came into it this year. It just did. Now, getting back to the Cam Ward, the good thing for me is I got a chance to see this guy 3 times over the past 2 years live and talk to 2 different staffs about him and go to his pro day. So I got about as much information as scouts got on the guy, okay? And talk to his mom and dad, everybody. I would have taken him. It would have been like, yo, you're going to have to give me all your picks. You're going to have to give me a Mike Ditka style type draft haul in order for me to move off of this. Because the kid is nothing but he's all football. He's no nonsense. He's an alpha, no leader, and he's got exquisite physical skills for the quarterback position. Is he Jaden? Is he Lamar in terms of running stop? No. But you know what? He don't need to be. Is he Patrick-esque in terms of the way he can run? Yeah, he is. He can run just enough. And you know what? In the playoffs, how many times have you seen Patrick Mahomes and you're sitting there going, damn, Patrick runs better than I thought. It may not look pretty all the time, but he sure is getting that ball down the field. And that's the same thing with Cam. And see, I just love the guy. I love the no nonsense guy because he is not about all that other crap, man. He is not. And he is not someone who will not be intimidated by anyone, vet or rookie, anyone. And the guys down there, I heard Jeffrey Simmons already talking about it. They're talking and chirping at him from one of the first times they got exposed to him. And he's chirping right back. And Callahan's talking about the fact that he's sitting there thinking, damn, does this guy even hear what I'm saying to him? Because he's over there chirping at these dudes. And he's a rookie. And he's playing quarterback. He's different. So, yeah, I can see why they fell in love with him. And I know down at that pro day, when he made that one big throw where he was rolling left on the sideline, I think Berganzi and them were standing over there, and he ripped the ball probably about 45, 50 yards in the air. I know I can picture that moment and them going, that's our dude, if they hadn't already thought that anyway. So, yeah, would you have been tempted? Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to say this too. Well, look at the 2026 draft. Look who's coming out. Look at Lenore Sellers down in South Carolina, Drew Aller. Look at these guys. Carson Beck down in Miami again. Like, hey, man, you know, Arch Manning may be coming out. You don't know how the hell those guys are going to be this year. You don't know how that's going to look. You don't know if you're even going to be in position to draft one of them. Take the one. If you believe it, do it. Mike believed it. I would have believed it too. I would have taken it.
That was our conversation with Louis Riddick, ESPN NFL analyst from yesterday. We will take your reaction to that. And we will be right back. DVD, D-Base, Fingen, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I guess the question here is the past 5 years, the Tennessee Titans have not done well with the quarterback position. Malik Willis did not work out. No offense. Doesn't appear that Will Levis is working out. You draft Cam Ward, who, played at a bunch of schools, got a lot of reps in college, but now you have to start him week 1, or it feels like you have to start him week 1. Is that what you want to do if you're a below average franchise with a developmental quarterback?
I don't like it. I would like for him to just watch the game from the sidelines, understand how the starter prepares for a game, all of those things. It's just different than college. The speed is different. Terminology is different. The athletes are different. I think observe a game or 2 or 3. You're not going to win your division. And now he's got Tyler Lockett and he's got Calvin Ridley. So he's got some guys that he can throw the ball to. But I would like to ease him in on a bad team. The NFL is littered with quarterbacks who played for bad teams and picked up bad habits. I thought Tim Couch went to the Cleveland Browns, and I thought, at the time that was maybe a prototypical NFL quarterback, and he didn't have a successful career. If he went to another team, maybe an established coach or offense or some other players, then maybe. But I just think I go back, when you're seeing quarterbacks and they go to a bad team, you're going to a bad team for a reason. They don't have a good quarterback, and now you're asked to be a savior.
That was Dan Patrick and friends discussing the Titans quarterback situation.
It's good to hear Dan.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot about this. Jared has talked about this quite a bit, about how if it were up to Jared, he would keep Cam Ward on the bench for at least the first 2 weeks of the season. He would not have Cam Ward start at Denver against that menacing defense. He would not have Cam Ward start against the LA Rams, who have some firepower up front, and reevaluate after week 3, maybe allow Cam Ward to make his NFL debut in week 3, I believe, at home against the Indianapolis Colts. So my question for the both of you is, how much benefit do you think there actually would be for Cam Ward to start the season on the bench? I don't anticipate Cam Ward starting the season on the bench. I am pro Cam Ward getting out there in week 1. But how much benefit, Willie, do you think there would actually be for Cam Ward to start the season on the bench?
I think I heard in Dan Patrick's opinion there a philosophical one. It wasn't really specific to Cam Ward, but from afar, I think it's an age-old debate. One that it doesn't seem like it happens these days. There's a desperation. And I think if you look at some of these teams that are in the vortex of a rebuild in hockey, part of the thing that goes wrong with a full-scale rebuild is you get these super high picks and they're thrown in. There's a feeling like, well, we picked him 3rd in the draft. Let's get him in there. Let's throw him in there. And that elongates the rebuild. It makes it harder because those kids are not ready. They're not surrounded by enough talent to win. So I don't think we should just brush aside the argument. There is a lot of merit to that argument. So the benefit, I think it goes without saying, is that you're not putting him in harm's way right out the start. Let's not forget, before you just say, he's going to start week 1. Who are we kidding? Vince Young sat for 4 or 5 games, and the Titans were not going to put him in. They did not think he was ready. And Bud Adams said, he's ready, put him in. And they were like, he's ready, put him in. And he won the Rookie of the Year. So it's hard to know, but I don't know how much those 4 or 5 weeks of not having any pressure on him helped him. Now, as we know, he didn't continue to develop the way we all thought or hoped that he would. And it was pretty well documented what was happening, why that didn't happen. Cam Ward seems to be a guy that is going to do everything he can to be as prepared as you possibly can to be ready on day 1. So it does depend on the person, right?
The thing is, Derek, depending on which side of this debate you are on, you can find an example of a quarterback to suit your argument. Jaden Daniels started immediately. That worked. Josh Allen did not start immediately. that worked. I mean, there are examples across the board of quarterbacks who succeeded starting immediately and those who didn't. And the same thing for quarterbacks who did not start immediately. So, Derek, same question. How much benefit would there be for Cam Ward to start the season on the bench?
Every situation isn't the same, and every team isn't the same. Some teams, even though they may draft a quarterback first overall, their talent may have talent there, and could have been injuries that sort of derailed their season. It could have been they had young guys last year and they were developing, and this year, we hope and we see that, we're going to have a much better team, but we're still in a position where we can get a quarterback in a top pick or within the first 3 picks. So to me, if the kid is ready to play, you throw him out there. I'm not one, let's hold him out, because you got the Denver Broncos and the Chargers in Rams
at home
in Denver, first 2 games of the season. And Denver's got this hell of a defense, and Rams so let's save him. Let's protect him from that. You ain't protecting nobody. He gonna have to face the defense when he comes into the game. Once during the season, he's gonna have to face a damn good defense. He's gonna see adversity to try to shield him from that adversity. You're not doing him any favors. So if the kid, and all of this is predicated on whether the kid is ready or not. If you see that he's ready and you believe that you've done enough around him, more importantly on the offensive line, to protect him first and foremost, to protect him, then throw him out here. I know some people are scared right now that the Titans are going to damage Cam Ward. I get it, because they've seen other quarterbacks get damaged.
Right.
So I get it.
It's a fear.
Yeah,
it's a
just
lack of
fear.
trust
Exactly.
in what they will be able to do to help him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I get that part, but if the kid's ready, if I'm running an organization, the kid shows me he's ready, throw him out there. He may have a bad game. He may throw an interception. I want to see what he's made of right now. I don't want to, sit him down just for the sake of sitting him down, even though he's proven he can play. I don't want to sit him down and try to shield him from something. Man, the kid he gotta, just like everybody else out there on that field, you got to show your worth immediately. You got to show your worth sooner or later. And those guys on the field, those other 10 guys on offense, when people start to say, well, hold him back, they really know if he can play or not. And if he's showing them that he can play, then I'm not going to hold him back and make these other 10 guys suffer. Oh, we just going to hold him back. And everybody in the locker room looking like, he's the guy. What are y'all doing?
Could anything he does, either at practice or we make too much of what happens in the preseason games, but in the key practices, if he looks like he's struggling, could that change your opinion?
I think it can, but I also have to understand that he's a rookie and he's still developing. I want to see development. He may play against, they have the 2 not inter squad, but crossover, so to speak, practices where they're practicing another team. He may do bad in a period, but then he may come back and have a really good period the next period. I think you're going to see the ebbs and flows of a young quarterback, but I'm not going to sit here and say, well, he's not ready to go. I just want to see how he matures and how he develops as we press through camp, get into the preseason games, and then I think you will understand and find out whether he's ready or not. Now, if it's blatantly, evident to everybody that he's not ready and y'all still put him out there, then shame on you, Tennessee. But if he's doing the things, if he's on schedule or ahead of schedule, you can't fool the players. Okay, as much as radio talk show hosts say he should sit, or prominent radio show talk hosts say the rookie should sit. Those other guys on that team, those other 50-something players, they know. And if he's showing and he ain't starting, you're gonna have a mutiny pretty soon. So throw him out there, let him trial by error. It's gonna have to happen one sooner or later. So if he's proven to you that he's ready to play, throw him out there. He may have a bad game, but then again, he may have a good game.
And if Titans fans have learned anything, remember Will Levis's debut?
Marcus Mariota's
Remember
debut?
Marcus Mariota's debut? They were outstanding debuts. And how did that turn out? So maybe it might be good for Cam Ward to struggle a little bit in week 1. I'm being a bit tongue in cheek, but I'm just trying to ease your minds. 615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the week by taking it to the bank next. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025-1063 The Game. D-Mace, Finken, and Donick, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It is the end of the week, which means it's time to take it to the bank with our friends at F&M Bank. At F&M Bank, their mission is to make lives better by making banking easier. And this will be a little bit more fun when there's more sports going on. We are, how far away are we from college football? I don't remember what the countdown is for the Chase and Big Joe show.
Remember, we heard the impassioned speech by Brian Callahan as of what?
47 days.
47
46.
days.
It's 46 now.
46 now.
Like we're
And
like
so
six-ish weeks.
About 6 weeks because the college will start a week earlier. We'll have
Okay.
some high school here coming up.
And by the way, I hate what is it?
Week 0.
Week 0, yes.
Week 0.
I hate week 0. It's week 1. A college team is playing. Okay? Week 1. It ain't week 0. What you saying? Those college teams don't mean nothing? I guess that's really what you're saying.
And what about the game in Ireland? Is that like week -1? Isn't that's always like the first game, right? When they're it seems like that's even before week 0. It seems like.
How about we pick the winner of the Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and Lions next Thursday,
man.
July 31st.
This is the annual thing. Like, hey, if you're
Football's back.
if you're feeling it and you want to put a wager on that game, you might need to look yourself in the mirror.
Detroit is a -1 favorite.
They have a line.
You
on
may
that
have
game.
a problem.
You might have a problem.
The total
if your
is 32 and a
notifications
half.
are hitting you up and like, hey, have you got your bet in yet for the Hall of Fame? You might be a target.
Give me the Lions,
Exactly.
David. Give me the Lions.
You might be the favorite customer of your preferred site.
Okay.
We love this guy. He's already got the bet in for the Hall of Fame game.
We just
this
take
is our
all his
kind of
money.
guy.
I'm taking the Lions. Give me the Lions.
You're taking the Lions. I'm going to. Are we all going to do the Hall of Fame game?
I'm not doing the Hall of Fame.
I'm not doing it either. Okay, I am going to the WNBA, which is tonight. The Mercury, Phoenix Mercury, play the New York Liberty. I am going with the Mercury to win this game by. What is the line on? I can see what the line. Oh, it's
on there somewhere.
Yeah, it's on here. They got Phoenix +5. I'm gonna take the points. No, I'm not gonna take the points. They're gonna win flat out. Phoenix gonna win flat out.
Okay.
Not taking
Really?
the points.
There have been a couple of trades in Major League Baseball. Their trade deadline is coming up, and it's Thursday, I believe. Is that right? 31st.
I'm not sure.
During the Hall of Fame game.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. The Yankees just traded for Ryan McMahon, a third baseman. So the number one guy on the market that everybody kind of knows is going to be traded is a guy named Eugenio Suarez. He's hit a ton of home runs this year. He is the coveted piece. I will say he will be traded by Monday. Now that McMahon, who plays the same position, has been dealt, I think people are going to go flying in, and the Diamondbacks will get the right offer for Suarez. So I'll put that in there. By Monday, he will be traded.
Okay, David.
And I will say that the Red Sox at Fenway, with the Dodgers coming to town, that will be a nice featured series. Couple of big markets, rematch of the 2018 World Series. I will say the Red Sox will take 2 of 3.
Can I get another one, please?
Why not?
Go
the
ahead.
series.
You take 4 or 5 during the season.
We had to close those loopholes last time.
We had to make rule changes. Can I get one more in? Well, yeah. How about getting 5 more in? That's what you usually do.
Well, you had 2. I only had 1.
I know. I came in with 2.
The rules have changed.
I thought we were picking 1.
The antennae went up Derek. He's like, oh, wait a minute.
I
That's
can
right.
get-
I got more picks. I got more.
He's those count.
I'm hoping they count. I'm saying they're gonna count. All right.
They count in your heart.
Are they playing a series? No, this is just a one-off. This is not a series. I got the Tigers over the Blue Jays.
They need to get it in gear. The Tigers were sailing along, and all of a sudden they've hit the skids.
Yeah,
They're
them and the
struggling.
Blue
They need to get
Jays
it
are right there.
And the Blue Jays have moved up. The Blue Jays are doing very, very well. So
Actually, they're ahead of the Tigers right now by a game.
That could be a future playoff match. They're not in the same division, obviously, but they are both having very good years. but they're right now. Blue Jays are hot. Tigers are not.
So I'm going with the Tigers.
All right. David, got anything for us?
Well, so last week I, said the Cardinals would win their series. They unfortunately did not. So they got swept. But they won last night, and they're going to win 2 more. They're going to win 3 out of 4 against the Padres. Book it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, a little
All right.
bucket term, a little
All right.
plasmania there.
And I see. I feel
I
you.
listen to him a little too much here lately.
That is true. So I do want to make Willie and Derek and David a promise. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to make the promise. So I am on vacation next week. I promise that I won't send you story ideas and topic ideas next week. I will be listening when I can. I'll probably hit up some of the podcasts. Don't know if I'll be able to listen live, but I will be listening. As Derek said on Monday when he wasn't with us last week, it feels weird that the show goes on without me. But hey, we all need a little break. So I promise I won't send you any topic ideas all week long. I'll leave you alone.
How do we feel about that, D-Mace? Because as much as we kid Adam, we're like, hey, that's a good idea. Let's use that.
Hey,
I actually like it.
I will. If you come to me, I'll help you, but I won't come to
No,
you.
we will not come to you.
Yes,
because
we will
that
not
would be
come to
an
you.
infringement
Yes.
of your
You
right.
have to want to do it yourself.
Go off the grid.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to want to do it yourself.
But if
So
you feel the need, if you
yeah.
feel the moment,
if you
you
feel like
it,
doodling, just doodle to us something
Yeah.
you want us to talk about. You would like for us to talk about.
I don't think we should talk about doodles. Doodles are in the news right now.
Yes, not in the right
People are
way.
getting in trouble for doodles right now, so I'm not going to be doing that. But
Oh well.
Yankee Doodles.
Well, it was good knowing you guys.
Yankee Doodles. Yankee Doodles dandy. Okay.
Oh man. But yes, I will attempt to unplug as much as I can.
Don't attempt too hard.
I am not looking forward. So we're going to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. We're doing the drive in 2 days. We're doing the first part tomorrow, the second part on Sunday. I hate long car rides. I absolutely hate long car rides. So I'll have to get through it somehow. I'm not looking forward to it. The car ride, I'm looking forward to the trip, but I hate long car
You know
rides.
what's gonna make it bad? Why you're gonna want to text us? Because your internet is gonna be spotty, and you're not gonna be able to I want to know what's going on. So you're gonna try it by any means to contact us because you're not gonna have service for a period of time.
I don't know if they have carrier pigeons in the Outer Banks, but maybe I'll find one to send you
There's a
guys a
good chance
note.
they might.
Who knows if it will get here, but nevertheless, that'll do it for us this week. I leave you in the more than capable hands of Willie and Derek next week as I am on vacation. I will miss all of you, including you, Richard from Smyrna, who didn't know my name yesterday. Hopefully you'll learn it in the week that I'm gone.
OG.
Yes.
Other guy.
The other guy.
Yes. But that'll do it for us this week. We hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Willie and Derek will be with you and David at 11 a.m. on Monday.
Be loving your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful weekend. And we love you from DVD, or should I say DV or D, the other
DDT.
guy.
DDT.
and D. No, but have a wonderful weekend. We love you. Peace.